Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pulse here. You are joined by Dillon and Ben, co-founders of PeakBot and co-hosts of this new show. Well, not a new show, new time slot on the Tradier Hub. We're very excited to be here today. Excited to get into things. We got an action-packed agenda here for you, and even a special guest today, which we're very excited to have on. We're gonna keep the temptation. We're not going to introduce just yet, but take our word for it. It's a great show we have for you here today. So before we get into everything, just a quick reminder for those of you who may be new to the show or new to PeakBot, we are an automated options trading platform for the retail trader. Our bread and butter is options selling strategies. We take well-known strategies that have been around for decades and we automate them, make it super simple for you to utilize. We partner with Tradier here as well as other brokers, but Tradier's been a fantastic partner, makes it simple, makes it affordable. We'll get into Tradier Pro and all the savings available with their commission-free options trading, and we'll get into all that. But as always, if there are questions, do not hesitate to ask us live. You can throw your question in the chat. Right now we're live on the Tradier Hub, as well as Tradier's Twitter and all of our socials, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. So come on in, ask us questions. If you're feeling a little shy, that's okay. You can always text us or call us at the number below on screen. But we're excited to get into it. So Ben, I'll kick it to you. Maybe just give the audience an idea of the agenda for today, and then we can get started.
Yeah, so first thing, Dillon, I want you to get your screen up because we're approaching the 12 o'clock mark where you will be actually placing trades hands-free. So we'll go hands up at 12 and We'll see these trades get placed live. But once we do that, we're going to introduce our special guest for the day. Then we'll hop into some trader trivia, some would you rather questions. We'll have an earnings recap, review some of our trades for the week, have our special guest talk a little bit about what factors they like to consider when opening an options position. And then for the rest of the hour, if anybody wants to hang back and stick with us, we'll be live trading. We'll bring Thomas back on, and then we'll live trade for the rest of the time here. So, Dillon, do you have your Tradier account ready to rock and roll here?
I do. So let's get that added to the stage here. Okay. So just for a little bit of context as to what we're doing here, what we're expecting, again, in about 1 minute here at 12 o'clock noon Eastern is the opening of our trade window for a number of the strategies I'm running on my account. So the idea here is we should actually be able to see live trades being placed automatically, hands-free trading as we like to call it, or a stock trader in my pocket here, seeing trades getting filled live. Now, they might not come exactly at 12 o'clock, and if that's the case, we'll roll with the punches, we'll continue the show, but our trading window is opening at 12 o'clock, and the concept here is this is my PeakBot account, and what you'll notice here is I have over here on the left-hand side open positions, open contracts on a number of our strategies, primarily the trend spread strategy, which is, and I'm going to make sure I click back over here just in case I'll refresh things here. Our trend spread bot, okay, our automated strategy, something just filled. Maybe it was a cute one of our iron condor.
Looks like it was your iron condor. It looks like your iron condor from earlier today. Yeah, you didn't even know what was happening.
I didn't even know it was happening. If we take a look at my account here, I have a QQQ condor set up, okay? And that's actually what we just saw place. That order was just filled. For a little more information on our iron condor strategy, it is a 1 DTE strategy. It is opening a new contract or a new condor every day, Monday through Friday, set to expire the following day. However, with our strategy, we've built it to avoid assignment. We don't want you getting your cash all locked up in SPY or QQQ, as well as some of the cash. Well, actually, you wouldn't be, never mind. Point is, we have a, what has it been, a good to close order set for each trade at 5 cents. If that trade is still not being fulfilled 15 minutes before the market closes on the day of expiration, we'll send a market order to get that contract closed. But so that trade happened completely hands-free because I had it set up in my PeakBot account. So we'll keep an eye on if any of my credit spread strategies are going to be activating here while we're on the live show. So just a little bit more information on the trend spread strategy, and maybe I'll pull up our website here just to get some more information on that. But the whole concept here is, with our credit spread strategies, we're selling weekly expiring spreads. Okay, so opens on Monday. Opens as early as Friday today, with a secondary entry on Mondays if you missed Friday or the market was closed or whatever reason. Set to expire the following Friday. Now, we are selling credit spreads with the trend. So on PeakBot's watch list, just a reminder, we're not financial advisors. No, this is financial advice. So we're not picking stocks for you. You're still selecting the stock from our watch list. But on our watch list, it'll tell you if the trend is bullish, it's going to sell a put credit spread. If the trend is bearish, it's going to sell a call credit spread. If it's neutral, it's going to sell an iron condor. So it does that. We're typically selling near the 30 delta, buying the 10 on both the put and the call side of things. And we're collecting a nice bit of premium while still giving ourselves a nice win rate between 70 and 75% on average. And, my account has been doing very well personally, as have our traders, since this strategy came out. Now, disclaimer, this past week was a bit ugly. This is not just a 1 week, strategy. We're playing the long game here. I did take a nice hit, a bad hit this week. And I think many others did as well. The market's been, flipping on its head here. And, but that's okay. We're collecting rent. We're playing the long game. And we fully intend on recovering here. My account was about, go ahead, Ben.
So I was going to say, so Dillon, you've got some trade. I mean, we saw your iron condor get executed live here. I'm thinking, why don't we bring on our guest right now? Because we can get rolling through everything while we've got this on screen. So I'll do a brief intro, and then I'll let our guest give the full intro. But as many of you know, we are live on the Tradier Hub. So who better to have on this show, on the Tradier Hub, other than the Chief Hub Content Officer himself? We've got Mr. Lex Luthor.
Lex. Hey guys, what's up? How are you?
We're great. How are you?
Doing great.
Good. I love listening to your stuff here. This is fantastic. So this is the second version, right? You guys were on Mondays, and things have gone so well. We're moving you to Fridays as well, right?
Yeah, you nailed it. I think this is our second or third official Friday at noon here, or 11:55, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah. We normally are on Mondays at 8:30 a.m. Still are, but yeah, as you mentioned, Tradier has been very gracious with our partnership here, and we're excited to fill another time slot for you guys. And the audience has been great. You guys have been great. We're excited to talk more about options trading here. We got a couple things up our sleeve for you today, which we're excited to get into.
Good.
But Lex, why don't you give an introduction of yourself here? Obviously, you likely recognize him from Tradier's show, The Brew, and many other things. But why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the rest of the show.
Perfect. I'll try to be quick. So I've been in the industry probably longer than you guys have been on the earth. So it dates back to the 80s when I first started, right? And I started on the floor of the CBOE. It was the CBOE back then, not CBO, but they call it CBO. Yep. Started as a market maker down there, so I was a trader. Was going to go to law school and said, we're not going to do that. We decided to go to the trading world. Miserable failure at first, right? Lost my backer's money in about 6 months. He had enough, he had enough confidence in me to re-pony. So he put some more money in, and certain things clicked after that. So as the time went on, I got better and better at this. I ultimately became his big partner in our trading firm. And we built a market making trading firm that was localized in Chicago, but then branched out all over the world. And then we added clearing to that. We packaged that whole business up, ultimately sold it to Merrill Lynch in 2005, thereabouts. So I have a real deep history on the pro side of the business. I morphed and came over to the retail side of the business in the teens, 2000, I want to say 15, 16, thereabouts. And the reason I did that, and you guys have made mention of this already, the access for the retail trader became so democratized and so cheap in this space. I could trade cheaper as a retail person than I could as a pro, which is insane.
Yeah.
And plus, we started getting a little bit of, regulatory sort of heaviness and compliance heaviness. So I was like, okay, I don't need this anymore. So switched over. We started writing, software, which we always were ahead of the curve on, even in the pro days. Tradier ultimately bought our software. And in that whole package came my partner, who's a technologist, and myself, who's more on the business side, to Tradier. And that's when I started with them about 2020, I think it was, right at the beginning of that. So here I am today. I'm involved with strategic partnerships like you guys, and I'm also involved deeply with the hub and the content and all that sort of thing. It's been going great. You guys are a great addition to it. We're super happy with everything and all the progress. So thanks for having me. And that's the high level version. So I'm here for questions, whatever you need.
Awesome. Great. Well, we've got a few things to talk about and some icebreakers to get the conversation started. Before we get there, though, I wanted to mention that we put a poll out earlier this week on our X account asking, what did you guys want to see more of from us when we're posting? Mm-hmm. And the results came back with a resounding, hey, let's get some free alerts out there. So happy to announce that if you go to our X page right now, we just posted a free weekly credit spread alert. Check that out on our X account right now. Keep us tuned in because we've got some fun stuff that we're going to cover. But Dillon's got the free alert up on his screen right now. It looks like it was for what ticker? IBM?
IBM, yep.
Awesome.
Nice.
Great. And it looks like we are looking at a bullish trend in IBM. We're going to sell a put credit spread there expiring next Friday. So that's our free alert for the day. There will be many more of those coming. Make sure you follow PeakBot on Twitter at usepeakbot. Turn the notifications on so that way you guys see every time that we post. Now, let's get into some trader trivia. Mm-hmm. All right. So, Lex, we had Matt Cashman on last week, actually, and we did some fun trader trivia questions with him. So we figured we'd bring that on to you. Now, again, these are just for fun. No expectations that any of us know any of these. and in full transparency, Lex, we just go to ChatGPT and have it ask the questions. So
I know Matt really well, by the way. Matt's a great guy. So he and I are tight.
He is a great guy. Yeah. It was great having him on. And he's actually going to be back on sometime in August. So if you guys join us for that show, Matt Cashman will be back on in August. We'll get a date set up for that and then post it. So the question is, which stock exchange is the oldest in the world? And it was established in 1602. So is it London, New York, Tokyo, or Amsterdam? And I'm also going to throw in a fun fact, Lex, that we learned a couple of weeks ago. And this doesn't influence the answer in one way or another, but we learned that the first futures trade happened in Osaka, Japan, back in, what was it doing, the 1500s?
Something like that.
Wow.
Something like that.
Well, on rice, right?
Yeah, on rice.
Well, I'm definitely eliminating B because I don't think the America was here in 1602.
Elimination.
I'm gonna get rid of that one. God, now you said Osaka. I was gonna say London, but I don't know. I'm guessing
London. Okay.
So
fair enough.
Is your answer. I don't know the answer to this. I'm assuming Ben does. I'm gonna go just to level it out. I am going to go with C, Tokyo Stock Exchange. But, and by the way, if anybody in your comments here want to throw something up, we're probably going to release the answer here before you put the comment in. Unless, Ben, you want to go, would you rather? But
we're going to go right to the we're going to keep you guys hanging on the answer there. So let's move into the would you rather question, and had a little bit of fun with this one today. So here's the question, and we'll answer this. Would you rather only be allowed to trade during the first 15 minutes of market open every day? Or if you wanted to trade as normal, right, you'd have to take or automate as normal. I threw that in there for you, Dylan, because I knew you were going to say, I'm just going to automate. I don't need to trade myself. If you wanted to trade yourself or automate, you have to take a 15-minute ice bath every day that you want to trade yourself or automate. How much willpower do you have to sit through a 15-minute ice bath?
I have a colleague who does a 15-minute ice bath every day, and he loves it. I'm like, I would hate that. Interesting.
I haven't gotten into it myself.
Dylan, what do you think? I don't know. I mean,
for me, would I rather only be able to trade during the first 15 minutes of market open? So let me break this down. For me, I'm not the pro trader of the group here. Okay. What I know about the first 15 minutes of the market open is that it can be chaos often. And I try to avoid chaos when trading. I try to keep emotions out of it. So anything that says trading during the first 15 minutes of market open, I likely will try to avoid. Now, the 15-minute ice bath, I haven't tried it. Lex, as you said, when your colleagues do it on Instagram and TikTok and social, all you see is this ice bath and how good it is for your brain and your body. I could care less. I mean, it's just like, hey, I'm trying to survive day to day here. And if an ice bath is what can help me as opposed to my horrible diet or this lack of use of my Peloton that I stare at here, I'll give it a go. So I'm going to go with just avoiding trading in the market in the first 15 minutes. Lex, what do you think? Kind of a fun, silly question.
I like your analysis. Here's what I think. I'm going to have to man up and figure out how to get in that ice bath. Because I agree with you, Dylan. The first 15 minutes, remember what's going on behind the scenes with the market maker community, right? They all have massive inventory from the previous day and from forever. So they do a lot of jiggering on that open. If you get gaps and what have you, there's a lot of gamma hedging, a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes early in that first 15 minutes. Furthermore, look at when we were specialists in options, our prices weren't as, our markets weren't exactly as tight as they could be during those first 15 minutes. We're also doing a little touchy-feely during that time as well. So you might see a little illiquidity during those first 15 minutes. And I always tell the retail folks, be careful, right? That's not the time to start establishing a position necessarily. If you have to, you have to. I get it. But, man, if you can avoid those first 15 minutes, I even say the first half hour, quite frankly. Tra-la-la and get on with it after that. So I'm going to go with the ice bath.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Lex. I'm going to have to figure that out as well. I'm trying to think back. I might have done one ice bath in my life, and that's it. I can't imagine that. But yeah, no, Lex, you bring up a really good point. Like all of the things that are happening behind the scenes, first half hour of the trading day. And, that's taken into consideration with PeakBot strategies as well, right? Like our trend spread, our wheel strategies, they don't open a position until 11 a.m. So we actually give the market about an hour and a half to settle down. And then our iron condors don't open until 12. So, 2.5 hours to settle down. All right. So are we ready for the answer to the trivia question?
Yeah. Hit us.
All right. It is the Amsterdam Stock Exchange.
The tulips.
Established by the Dutch East India Company in 1602.
Kidding.
All right. So we learned something new today. Amsterdam Stock Exchange, the oldest stock exchange in the world.
Wow.
If I was guessing, I would have guessed Tokyo, just based on that Osaka rice futures market.
Right. When you said that, I thought of that too, but I said, he's setting me up.
Yeah, I was setting you up.
So they were trading bonds and shares of stock back in 1602 in Amsterdam. Okay. Amsterdam does it all, I guess, don't they? Okay.
Imagine what that was like back then. Did they chisel it into stone? Like, how did that work?
Certainly wasn't through a connection between PeakBot and Tradier. So
wasn't interesting on the Mac either.
Yeah, no. Wow. All right, awesome. So Ben, what do we got next for the show here?
So we just got a quick earnings review. So we had earnings this past week, and this is pulled off of PeakBot's watch list. Of course, there are more companies that reported earnings this last week and more companies that will report earnings this coming week. But as it relates to getting your tickers set up within PeakBot today, or on Monday or on Tuesday. This is what we've got to look out for. So Taiwan Semiconductor reported, Blackstone, United, Johnson & Johnson, PNC, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America. So that really kind of kicked off earnings season for this quarter. And we're going to see a lot more companies reporting earnings over the next couple of weeks. We see a packed week this coming week for a lot of tickers that I know people are trading a lot of on PeakBot. So like Enphase Energy, ticker ENPH. I'm in that position right now, currently trying to get out of it. But this week didn't really do me any favors. We've got Google, Alphabet, right? So they've got earnings coming up. What is that going to be on Tuesday? And then another commonly automated ticker is IBM. And that was our free alert today, right? IBM. So again, just keep that in mind as you are automating. When you think about automating what we're trading, at least credit spreads, there's really no upside to trading on earnings. Could you earn a little bit more premium? Sure. But there's no upside if you're bullish and the company has really good earnings and the stock price skyrockets, right? Because our earnings are capped. And you're only doing yourself a disfavor if you're gambling and there's bad earnings and now you're looking at a max loss from that credit spread that you set up. So again, not financial advice, but Dillon and I, we like to stay away from companies that are reporting earnings. So as I mentioned, I am in a position in ENPH, going to try to figure out how to get out of that and salvage as much of that position that I can, because I am in a loss right now. Dillon, you had something?
Well, I wanted to ask Lex, Lex, our position on, as Ben just mentioned, trading through earnings reports, right? Some people love it. Some people base their entire strategy around it. Others avoid it like the plague. For us, when we're automating trades, knowing that our subscribers and our clients are, doing the whole set it and forget it approach. They're busy at work. They might not be as tuned in as they would like to be. Wanting to know, obviously, with the brew and all of your experience with options trading, what's your approach to trading in an earnings season here? Do you like it? Do you love it? What's your general approach, if you can share?
Yeah. So, my market maker answer is different from my retail trader answer, right? So we loved it in the market making days because volatility got elevated pretty good, right? So premiums are gigantic, but the expected moves are gigantic too, potentially.
Okay.
So we loved it market maker style. It did not come, easy all the time either. There's some pitfalls, and I had some beauties. And if we have time for a story later, I'll tell you about my Google earnings because we were specialists in Google.
Okay.
But as a retail person, I do like trading earnings because what I tend to do almost all the time, and you guys have already touched on it, is I tend to be very risk defined. Okay.
Yeah.
I do not have strappy units out there. What I mean by that is I'm never net short something. I learned a very valuable lesson early in my career about being net short units. It almost, cost me my livelihood. And I'll never do it again. So I'm either butterflied off or time spread or credit spread straight out. No flapping units. Retail side for earnings, I do like it because you have that big disparity between months between expirations with implied volatility. So I can do a very expected move, sort of double calendar or double diagonal kind of spread, right? Very low sort of expenditure on it's going to be a debit, but very low sort of expenditure with a decent size reward. They're super easy to do. I don't know if you guys do those in the automated side of things, but that's the thing I like to do for earnings on the retail side. It's cheap, it's easy. I have a chance to get in and out of this thing for a pretty good % return. And I'm probably not going to lose much if I get it wrong.
Right. So we're just automating credit spreads on our end. So if you're trading at a debit, I'm assuming through your spreads, you're leaving the opportunity for that for one of your bought contracts to ride if things go your way. Is that, and then you're defining the loss on your trades.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Again, I'm doing a calendar, let's call it, and I don't pick a direction because basically I'm terrible at that. So I like to be directionless and take advantage of implied volatility, right? So there's a big discrepancy. And I looked at one and I forgot to look at it today. I think American Express had earnings or has earnings today. Is that right? Or did they come out? I can't remember. We were looking at a time spread there a little bit. I was talking about it the other day for somebody. And we had a real cheap one. It was like 28 cents. So the likelihood, if I hit it just right, 28 cents, let's call it 30 from easy math. it probably goes to $1, right? It doesn't sound like a lot, but percentage wise, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
I made 70 cents on a 30-cent sort of expenditure. I like those kind of plays. Now, I'm not going to get the whole dollar. Probably I'll be out well before that, but still, it's a really low risk, really nice reward kind of play, and I love those.
Yeah, they are reporting earnings today. You're right.
They didn't do it yet, though.
I think it is post. Yeah, I think it's
okay. Because the good news is, if that's true, I can still get into the trade.
Yeah, there you go. It's a perfectly. In fact, I'll just pull this up. I was looking at. What's their ticker? I just want to make sure.
AXP, I believe.
AXP. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, we love, and we do this on every live show, we love taking a look at the technical analysis tool here on Tradier. And I believe that's being pulled from your partnership with TradingView, if I'm not mistaken here. So when we take a look at the 1 month chart here, pretty healthy. Now, I guess we see a little bit of a drop here today. And we take a look at the technical analysis tool. Ben and I always try to look at the 1 week, just because for most of the time we're selling weekly expiring credit spreads. Right now, looking pretty bullish. 15 buy signals, 9 neutral, only 2 sell signals. I got to tell you, Lex, truthfully, Ben and Thomas and a couple of our other traders, and they're a bit more technical than I am. For me, I solely, not solely, but I very heavily rely on your technical analysis tool, and it's been good to me. It's been really good to me, because for me, it's just like, hey, if my watch list is showing that stock is trending bullish, I like the stock, I like the premium I'm getting paid, I have defined risk. I come here, I take a quick look at like the 1 month chart, maybe the 3 month chart, and I come and look at the technical analysis. And if everything that I'm thinking is confirmed by this here, I don't overthink it. I go and I place my trade. And again, I made 32% last year selling, credit spreads on PeakBot, completely hands-free. And, anybody who's not happy with that,
that's awesome.
Sorry, But, so interesting play on Amex. I know Ben and Thomas are going to be trading live a little bit later. I wonder if this is going to be one that they take a closer look at here. But I just wanted to pull it up.
Earnings might have come out here. I'm just trying to.
I think you might be right.
It looks like volatile. It looks like the stock's down pretty handily. It's 3.8%. So it looks like volatility's changed dramatically from yesterday. So I think it came out, but I'll keep looking here.
Yeah, gotcha. So interesting. Okay, excellent. Yeah, no, I appreciate the the input on trading during earnings. Look, if you know what you're doing and you're confident and you have the pulse on things, it can be a great approach, right? Again, always be careful. Volatility jumps pretty significantly most of the time. So, Ben, what else we got here? Where do we want to go now?
So I wanted to bring up my Tradier account right now, and I'll switch over to my trade log in just a second. I did mention that I had a position in ticker ENPH, right? So we can see that here in my account. And I traded a weekly call credit spread that was set to expire today. And unfortunately, throughout the course of the week, the direction of the stock took a turn for the worse. Now it's looking better, but I sold 106 calls, right? So in order for that position to be profitable for me, I would want those 106 calls to be out of the money, meaning the price of the stock needs to be below the 106 strike. So it needs to be below $106. Right now, as we can see, it's currently trading at 107.70, and I'll bring up the chart just so we can see it a little bit better.
While you're doing that, Ben, I just wanted to give a quick show of my account here. All my trades are going through live right now. If you guys remember, last time I had this screen up, it was just the cues here. All of my trend spread strategy, which is our weekly credit spread strategy, all of these orders were just filled. So awesome. Buy to close on Zim, RCL, Intel, Chewy, United Airlines. I'm opening up my new spreads with the expiration of next week, right? So all of this is happening completely live. I'm not doing any of this. I have it set up in my PeakBot account, which I guess is slow to load right now. But just keep in mind, all of these trades, now that I'm set up here, I got a CCJ set to expire July 26th. So that's next Friday. That happened while we're here live with Lex on the Pulse. There's no better thing.
It looks like your CCJ position for today is looking pretty good. That's well out of the money.
Yes, it is. I had a call on that expiring today.
So zoom in a little bit. Let's break that down because it looks like you have a $3 spread there.
$3 call spread.
And you collected about, what is that, $24?
Yeah.
On that $3 spread. So almost a 10% return on that spread, which is fantastic when you consider the probabilities here of where we're selling our strike prices. We're selling, of course, in our automated strategies, we're selling right around the 30 delta. So then if we look at it roughly statistically, that gives us about a 30% chance of that stock finishing in the money, which is what we don't want as option sellers. We want to finish out of the money. So when you flip that 30% on its head, that essentially gives us a 70% chance of winning that trade, right? And then we're buying the 10 delta as the hedge. And Dillon, you want to give more insight into what that means?
Yeah, so really for us, and by the way, I'm just noticing here the trend changed just a bit because for this week, it opened up an iron condor for me. So it must be seeing a neutral trend. So the reason that we buy, and I do have a newborn baby in case anybody can hear that happening in the background. So apologies there. But I'm trading hands-free while changing diapers. Just keep that in mind. So Ben, as you mentioned, right? So we're selling the 30 delta or closest to without going over, and then we're buying back the 10 delta. The reason we do that is we want to be able to participate in the upside, right? If that stock, goes in the direction we're wanting it to go, significantly, what Ben, like say maybe 10% in the correct direction, we get to earn an additional premium on that. And it also protects us, right? So it defines our risk. It allows us to participate in the upside if the stock goes the correct direction. And if you had anything to add there, Ben, go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, to be clear, you're talking about when somebody's trading the wheel strategy, that additional upside. Yes.
Okay. Apologies. Mixed it up there. As you guys can tell, I'm a bit scatterbrained, but anyway, take the mic out of my hands here before I.
Well, normally, Dillon, you interrupt me at the worst times, but this time was acceptable to show the automated trades. That was all good. I did want to bring up and just talk about this EMPH position and how I'm handling it. And then Lex, I did want to get into some questions that we had for you, particularly around what do you look for when opening options positions? And maybe even before that, what types of options plays do you like to get into? Do you prefer spreads? Do you prefer, going long? Let's talk about that in just a second.
Yep.
So when we look at ENPH, and I'm just going to open the 30-minute chart here. So if we look at the beginning of the week, I sold call credit spreads at the 106 strike. And actually that was carried over from the week previously. So I was bearish, and I think that was from the week of July 4th. I was bearish on the stock coming off of this downtrend that we see starting all the way back in June. And unfortunately, the week that I sold my call credit spreads at the 106 strike, we saw the stock price for EMPH start to increase. And that put me in the money. And that's not a position that I want to be in. Of course, I was selling spreads, so my risk was defined. I was looking at a max loss situation, which again, selling the 30, buying the 10 happens statistically about 10% of the time. So I got myself into a position where I was looking at a max loss, and I was not really confident in this trend reversal that I was seeing on EMPH. I kind of wanted to stay on the call side. So what I did was I rolled my EMPH position, and I rolled it up by a couple of weeks. And I just wanted to mention, I think this is the important point here, at least for my preference when I'm trading. I always like to roll for a credit. So when I'm taking my position, and my position that was expiring, I guess it was last Friday at this point, so expiring on July 12th, I had to roll all the way out till August 9th, if we can see that on screen. It might be a little small. I had to roll out until August 9th to keep the same strike prices, and collect a credit on the trade. So all that means is I'm just extending my position. I'm allowing for more time for that stock price to get to where I want, because my overall thesis on ENPH is that there's going to be a slight pullback, or at least a pullback enough for that that spread to finish out of the money, which is what I want to see for a win there. So I'm giving myself some more time. I'm buying more time. I'm actually getting paid to give myself more time through rolling into a credit. Right, you could roll into a debit. Then when you journal that and put it in your trade journals, and you're keeping track of how you're trading, you'll have to record a small loss there. So TBD on where we go with this. I did wind up rolling a lot of my positions yesterday. Couldn't wait until today when we did it live, because there was some nice premium on the table yesterday. So I rolled a lot of my credit spreads that are currently in the money to next Friday's expiration, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm going to continue to do that until either the premium is not there anymore, or I find a better opportunity where I want to put my capital, or until I put myself into a position where I'm going to win here. So maybe when we get into live trading, I know Thomas has some positions that he wants to roll and potentially even open up some iron condors to earn a little bit more premium, soften the blow for any losses that might have been incurred. But yeah, this week wasn't the best. If you were bullish on the market at the beginning of the week, then Mother Market had something different to say to you in the middle. So that said, Lex, let's get into some of those questions that we had. So why don't we start with what is your preferred options trading style?
So great question. And what I like to do is sometimes when I speak around the country at these events, there's one little presentation I do, and I won't go through that, but this is pertinent. The 7 skills or traits that great options traders have. And the number one I talk about all the time is find a strategy that fits your personality. Okay, now what I mean by that is when I first started in the business, my backer was a big premium buyer, which means he owned options. He was long gamma. Guess what else? He was paying theta all the time. Yeah. So it was like bad water torture, owning options and watching them melt away day in and day out. And then maybe one day hitting a home run, getting it all back, and then a little bit. Yeah. That was not my personality. I did not like that. Okay. And I didn't do well. That's how I lost the first batch of money before I figured it out. Conversely, selling premium, being short stuff, in our world today, it's credit stuff, right? We're collecting things and putting theta in your favor. It works better, in my opinion, for a retail trader, because a retail trader can't enjoy buying a bid, selling an offer, and mitigating theta by trading a lot, right? We have to put positions on, let them do their work, and then take them off strategically. So having said that, I would tell you that I love doing the credit stuff, things that I can collect theta on. I can make, little bits of money every day in and out, and then being very strategic and disciplined about my exit strategy. Now, you guys have a great tool. It's automated. So I'm assuming that the automation gets you in and gets you out at decent places, right? And I can't stress that enough. That's probably one of the other tenets of the 7 traits is have a plan, right? And the plan has to be something that includes an exit strategy, whatever it is, okay? And I'm not saying there's the world's greatest exit strategy out there that I have it necessarily. I do have one. It works for me, and I stick to it. And when I don't stick to it, guess what happens? I lose.
Yep.
Night on that. So I like, guys, you mentioned iron condors. I love doing those. I mean, look, I am a massively focused implied volatility person. It just comes from my background. So I like to know when implied vol is high. I like to know when it's low. I take advantage of selling expensive stuff and buying cheap stuff. When I have to buy something, like right now, this environment in SPX, for instance, the implied vol is just like rock bottom, right? It's hard to trade when it's that low. It really is. So I tend to be doing like long iron butterflies, believe it or not, on 0 DTEs. Now, the risk reward looks kind of shady, but you get enough little movement in these things to kind of grab yourself a dollar here and there.
I'm sure you did well this week.
To get out. Sorry?
I'm sure you did well this week if you were playing that strategy.
Yeah, it was a great week. And If I can get into these, like I think Dillon, it was you who said you like to do the next day and these 0 DTs. I love that idea. If I can get into these spreads for tomorrow, late day today, then that works magical. And it's got to be the right price. So, and I know what all those prices should be, but whether it's a $5 one or a $10 one and that sort of thing. So if I can't get that price, I move along. If I can get that price, bueno for the next day.
Right? Lex, I think we have to get you trading our Iron Condor strategy on PeakBot. I think we've got to set you up with an account because it's 1 DTE Iron Condors. Doesn't open up later in the day. It opens positions at 12 p.m. And then what it'll do is the bot will just set a good till cancel limit order for each leg at 5 cents. So we want to close each side at 5 cents. And then at 3:45, the day expiration, if there's a leg that's still open, it'll just cut that leg out, sell it or close it with the market order. So that way we avoid any chance of assignment. But yeah, I think you'll have a little bit of fun if we get you automated there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Do you guys use SPX at all? And I know the reasons why you might not if you don't.
Yeah, we do. So our Iron Condor strategy, we just actually made the update. It used to only trade SPY or QQQ, but now we've added the cash settled instruments. So SPX, and the other one.
We added XSP as well. We also added IWM and NDX.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean SPX for retail people is, if they can handle it, is awesome because of how assignment works, right? It's cash settled, it's European, so you don't have to worry about any exercise assignment issues whatsoever. And it's you do fewer contracts, I get it, but you get a lot of bang for your buck. Right. Yeah.
And we might have to jam with you offline to figure out if you like entering later day. Ben and I are always, and our whole development team, we're always making adjustments to our strategies, taking into consideration, other professional traders, opinions, and also matching the market conditions. It might be worth us, picking your brain on that a little bit. And especially if our traders on Tradier here could benefit from that, then it's a win-win-win. So very cool. Yeah, we'll get you set.
Don't let Dillon get you carried away there, Lex, because next thing you might know, he might be offering you a Lex bot on PeakBot.
Hey, be careful. We might. You said it. I was thinking it, but you said it.
I know you. I saw it. I saw it on your face as you were talking.
That's funny. I love it. Good. Yeah. So that's the kind of things I like to do. And look at. Unfortunately, because of what my day job, which is all day long, I don't have enough time to be in front of the computer all the time. So that lends to your service. And I am a massive fan of automation. Okay, in this retail world, because what I tend to find the pitfalls for retail traders is they second guess themselves and they're full of emotion. So when you can have a bot make your trading decisions, now granted you have to put some thought into what you're doing. But when you can have the bot do that for you, it's awesome. I mean, now all of a sudden you take emotion right out of it and you live by the trade plan, whatever that is, it makes the decision for you. I'm a massive fan of that.
Well,
we try to tell people. Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
Yeah, you said before, Lex, and I loved what you said. Like, you have to have a plan. You have to have a strategy, right? Yep. We've done a lot of research, of course, on the retail trader, right? Because our product, of course, is for the retail trader. So how do we get retail traders on? Well, we've got to perform better than retail traders would perform on their own. The number one reasons why retail traders lose is because they don't have the time and they don't have the strategy. And if they do, then they probably lack the discipline to stick to that strategy.
Sure.
And when using automation, to your point that you just made, you don't need to worry about your emotion getting in the way because you kind of just set it up and then let it run.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Now, do you find, can I ask a question of you guys? Do you find that your community, what do you think their option skill level is? 0 being a very beginner to, let's say, 5 being a very advanced person. Are they somewhere in the middle, do you think? Do you have any insight?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ben. I'll give my take and feel free to add to it. For us, our primary audience, our ideal customer really is what we call the hobby trader.
Okay.
They have the basic knowledge of options trading, but they're not staring at a stock chart all day. They're not overly technical. They have an idea of stocks that they like to trade, how they feel about these stocks, that they want to collect consistent, income while defining their risk. And that's it, right? So I would say intermediate. However, there's outliers on both sides of that. We have, people who would consider themselves full-time pro traders who utilize PeakBot to just operate for them in the background. They're going to go and make their trades all day. They're going to manually be day trading and doing all that, but they have PeakBot operate for them in the background. And then on the complete other side of the spectrum, we've introduced hundreds of completely new traders to the market with PeakBot because, again, it's the same thing. It's, hey, I'm going to lay out all the information. If they can understand what a put and a call is and a credit spread, you can trade PeakBot successfully. There's people who know less who trade successfully. Here's a good example of that at the very beginning. But yeah, it's kind of right in the middle. Ben, I don't know if you wanted to add to that, but Ben, can you hear us?
Yeah, I think my internet connection I think is getting pretty bad.
Okay.
Traveling this weekend, so not in the home environment, but that's okay. I was going to say on Lex's scale, I'd put the average at a 2.
Okay.
That's
pretty good though. That's not bad.
Not bad, yeah. But I do love it when people come to PeakBot and they want to get involved in options trading, and of course we're not.
Yeah, we're losing Ben a little
bit. Losing Ben on the travel internet.
So Ben's down the Jersey Shore. He's there for a wedding. We're up here in New Jersey. So he's down there for a wedding. Ben, you blew it. It's okay. We're going to keep riding here. One thing, and by the way, we just got a comment, best show yet out of David Y. I think that has a great deal to do with you joining us, Lex. So
thanks, David.
That. We know who David's been David was one of our early subscribers. He tunes into every single show, so that's saying a lot. But we lost Ben. Maybe he comes back, and I know we're getting close to time here, Lex, and you got a million other things to be doing as well. What I wanted to comment on, and we love that you're in the same boat as us as for loving automation for the retail trader. We try to tell people, like, look, we didn't reinvent the wheel here. We just automated it, pun fully intended, because this is how Wall Street and hedge funds have been trading for decades, right? We are all in on the fact that over the next 2 to 3 years, everybody's going to have a stock trader in their pocket, right? If Ben and I, who we're not industry guys, right? Like yourself, Lex, we just grew up on the same street in a small town in New Jersey. Ben had a trading background. I did not. And we signed up for all these other platforms that were out there, and we were kind of getting screwed. We're not saying they suck, but it was just overly complicated. They were expensive, and they weren't very transparent as to what results you can expect. And that's why we built PeakBot. And you guys have been a really, really great partner with us. And to make it very clear to those watching, our goal is to become the household name for automated trading, because there's not one for the retail trader, which is just ridiculous. So Lex, who knows if Ben will be back, but I wanted to know if you had anything else that you'd like to share with our audience here of Tradier, fans and traders and our automated trading community. If you had anything else that you wanted to share here, the floor is yours. If you had questions, whatever it might be, I just wanted to give you the mic here and say thanks so much for joining us here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I love this. I'd love to do it again too. I don't know if I have anything else. I have so many things to talk about, relative to the retail world. I've learned a lot being in the retail space over the last N number of years. They must have an edge proposition, period, right? You must have an edge proposition. Now, me as a market maker in the old days, my edge proposition is totally different from what the retail person is. And make sure you have one, okay? And it can be scientific. It can be all kinds of things, but have one. And I can't talk about it enough. The other thing I'd say is, I do a lot of demos online. So if that's something your community would like to do, and it doesn't have to be about the actual product, it can be about just talking about options. I love to do that. So if that's something that's interesting to your group and they want to, pick my brain on an online sort of mini webinar, happy to do it. Just connect with me afterwards. Love to talk about it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, and they can ask me questions on the liquidity side of the business, which I really understand well. And the behavior there can give you guys clues, you guys meaning us retail folks, into underlying asset movement. So there might be some signals out there based on what the dealer has in their hand. It's a big poker game, right? And it can tell you direction a little bit. So it might enable you to kind of lean certain ways, if you know what I mean. Right?
Absolutely. No, and we're going to take you up on that. In fact, Brando in the comments, that sounds fire. I think you got one person already very interested. So we'll make that happen. So Lex, again, we can't thank you enough for coming on. We will definitely do this again. I want to hear your story on Google. I think it was something around earnings. I know you guys said you were Google specialists, so maybe we'll see for next time.
Perfect.
Really quick. I just wanted to give you guys a plug here. You're looking at the co-host of The Brew here, live Wednesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern, right?
Yeah, so our show is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday, Friday are taped, but they're aired on those 2 days. And then the Thursday show is live with those two cats there, Mark and Jason. And, I will warn your audience, it's probably a little bit more advanced, that discussion on Thursdays. So we talk a lot about secondary Greeks, charm, Vana, all that kind of craziness. But we also bring it back to the market structure, and we bring it back to why commissions are what they are in places. It's all over the board. But I would call it very interesting. That's a live show. So that's on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Central, 10 o'clock Eastern.
Excellent.
Yep.
Well, definitely check it out if you haven't. Lex, we really appreciate it again. I've said that a million times, but this was a great show. We had over 600 live viewers today on the show, which is fantastic. So thank you for everybody tuning in. Ben is back. Who knows if you can hear us or if we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Ben, did you have anything else before we sign off here?
No, I mean, thanks so much, Lex, for joining. I think using the Google story as a cliffhanger for the next time you're on is great.
It's a good one.
Get you back on the show.
Yep, it's a good one. People will like it. They'll feel sorry for me for a second. It was painful, I will tell you that.
All right, that's fine. Awesome. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in. Ben and I will be back on Monday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern for the Pulse to review our personal trades, the results of the PeakBot community, etc. So until next time, thank you, everyone, and we will see you